Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Okay, I came and had a little look earlier just to see what kind of volume there was, and it's not too bad actually. Be interested to see what happens when kind of mainstream opens. How many institutional traders are at it today? It is a little bit low, but we do have days like this now and again, so we'll see anyway. So, Karina, good morning to you. Merry Christmas. Speedy, how you doing? Beach Bum, how you doing? Excellent. So, Merry Christmas to you all. So, this is probably the last day, actually, I'm going to trade before Christmas. I think I'll be back on the 29th. Let me have a look. It's going to be quiet, I think, tomorrow. I know there's no point, but let me have a look. 29th, which is a week today. 29th, 30th. I'll probably miss New Year's Eve. So, I'll be back a week today anyway. I don't there's no point in trading tomorrow. Okay, markets open. Let's see how we get on today. Okay, so we have gapped up a little bit overnight. There is a gap of about 5, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it's about 5 1/4, something like that. See how we get on anyway. I am streaming now in 4K. I just wanted to try it in 4K. Hence, my chart is probably a little bit more of a letterbox. So see how we get on anyway. We'll see what it looks like when we're done today. See if it looks okay. Hopefully, Daryl, can you excuse me a sec? Sorry about that. We're all full of cold in our house. So, can you guys do me a favor? I just wanted to see how the latency was affected. So, if I shout to you guys a certain number, I wanted one of you or all of you to write down that number. And I just want to see how long it takes roughly. So, I'm going to say a number in a few seconds. Just type it out for me, and that'll give me a rough idea. So, let's go for number 4. Okay, so that was about 8 seconds. That's not terrible. Yeah, so I'll see what it's like. I may go back. The trouble is, it's okay doing 4K, but when you do, it does affect things. So we'll see how we get on. I'll have a look back at it later. And if it's too much, I'll go back to where I had it kind of like a 1080p. So channel break new high. Ooh. My throat's proper dry. So yeah, I think it's about 8 seconds, something like that. So excuse me, just a sec. I'm just going to get a quick drink of water. I'll be about 2 minutes. Okay. Hopefully that'll be a bit better. Okay, so channel break new high. So, everything is up and running. So I miss Sean. Good morning to you. Daryl, how you doing? Richard, how are you? Beach Bum, Little Hammer. So, Let's have a look. So this to me looks like it's reversing. I don't think there's any type of a wider channel there. I just don't want to take a failure and get caught out. It's hard to say. I don't think so. There's a break new high. I was looking for a second entry long failure. Laufey, how you doing, mate? So price is moving okay. We'll just kind of take it step by step, and if it starts to go a bit quiet, we may just kind of knock it on the head early. We'll see how we get on. I did wonder whether many be trading today. There are, yeah. So that fits kind of nice to me. Now, Thomas Wade has got that in one channel. I'm not super convinced. It's hard to say. I've kind of touches perfectly there. It's okay, mate. It's okay. He's a friendly guy. I'm not sure how much I can learn, to be honest with you. There's more kind of a lot of talk. There's nothing kind of super structured yet, but it is quite early, I think. But he's a nice guy, actually. And there's some nice people on there, but it's very much kind of a lot of chit chat and that sort of stuff. I don't think he's going to trade live. So, but it's okay. It's nice. It's nice to get to know other people. Russell, Merry Christmas to you, pal. Jay, how you doing? Jeff, how you doing? So price is moving, so that's something. I know Thomas Wade is trading. Is Dan trading? I don't think he is. Let me have a look. I haven't seen anything as yet from Dan. No, I don't think Dan's here. I don't think Marco is either, so it is a little quieter. So, so channel break new low. See, I'm not convinced that this thing's going up. There is a failure there.
Order submitted.
There are sellers down at 15 and lower. Let me have a look. Missed it. Not sure about this, actually. I
Order
think this
canceled.
is a little bit congested. So I can see orders at 15 and down at 10, but come to think about it, it's a little bit choppy. So I think I'm going to leave it. It wouldn't have worked anyway. It would have to go for 12 ticks. That bar there is a little bit in the middle, so I've dragged it out. I'm not so sure about it, to be honest with you. I mean, there is going to be liquidity up here, but whether this thing's going to come down or not, I think I'm best off just waiting. It may be okay, but it's a little bit congested, I think. So it would have to get down to about there for me. Now, whether it will or not, it's a bit... I'm not sure about this. It's a bit stacked up. That now is vulnerable. So let me have a look. So there is sellers. sellers around the 220, higher sellers around the 220. But to be honest with you, I think this is probably going to work. I think it, yeah, so it would have worked anyway. But that's fine. I got no problem with that. I just looked, there was a failure there. Now, is that a strong body to be buying against? I don't think so. I would prefer a stronger looking buy. I would prefer to break below there and finish on its highs. And maybe a bit higher, and the body of this to be sitting under there. So it would have worked for 3 points, but I'm quite happy to leave that one. I ummed and ahed about it. So we've got buyers down here at 10, so it's probably going to go down. But the trouble is, bars like that can trigger and pop up a bit higher, clear out, and still close below the EMA to go down. So I think the safer option was to leave that. Listening to Vlad's video that Lance posted made me overthink my charts and made my trading worse. Yeah, he's a nice guy, but I don't know whether I can learn a lot more. I know how to trade. I understand Mac's system. I've been trading it now for the best part of 5 years. So I think for me, how can I improve for me? You know, just as my experience grows year after, year after year. So I don't know whether I'm going to continue with it after Christmas. I do think he's a nice guy, and it's interesting to meet other people. But I don't know whether I'll stick with him after Christmas. I'm going to have a think about it. The trouble is, when you understand Pats and how it works, the rest, as you improve, just comes from pure experience. So I may have been doing it long enough to not feel like I need it, if that makes sense. He's looked at a lot of my charts and looked at a lot of my trades, and he thinks they're all spot on. So he did say, "Man, you know you're trading spot on. You read the charts." So it's, I think when you trade long enough to understand the strategy and that how it works. So I think I'm ahead enough to not need it. I don't think. Not only that, he does it for about 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon, and he does it on a Friday. Yeah, he does it on a Friday. Well, I'm streaming on a Friday and I'm trading, and it's my main job, so I need to focus on what I'm doing. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to carry on. I don't. He's certainly a nice guy, and I think if you're relatively new, it may be worth your while. But for me personally, I don't think I need it now. I think I'm advanced enough to understand how it works, and I'll just improve. Yeah, exactly. He trades more or less the same as Mac. The only slight difference is he goes for more reversals, like the second entry long stroke failure. So for me, we've had a break of this channel down. Yes, it's a second entry long, but it's not one I would think a lot of traders would get into. That's why when it broke below there, it didn't really do much. I'd want a really strong second entry long that I'm confident are going to trap traders. Then that would come down. When it broke below here, it moved quickly. But even when it got below there, it still went down slowly and sideways. So that is not what I call a strong failure. But nonetheless, it did work in the end anyway, but not before it went sideways a bit. So it wasn't the strongest of setups, but you'd probably expect it to work. So, there we go. So 21.5. There is some sellers at 21.5. Now, let me have a look. Maybe 20 3/4, something like that. a second entry short up here? It's hard to know, really. Uh, we've got all-time highs up here, so we're not a million miles away. What are we, 80, 90, 90 something points, 93 points? Soon do that on a decent day. So I know there are buyers there at 10. You can see that there's 120 contracts, and they're just above 20. There's 115. It's kind of in the middle of 20 and 22.50. Slightly on the lower side, so I'm guessing around about there, which is so if we can get a couple of legs up, we may get something to short this. Now, for me, this I don't know. You may do something like that, and you may think this is going to push up, and it may well do. Uh, so I'm going to kind of leave it as is, and I'm going to use Bookmap to guide me. And if I think it's pushing up, then and then I'll obviously avoid shorts. Now, there is a possible second entry short. Now, that may well work, but for me, I can see the orders up here. So I'm guessing a break like that may clear some liquidity. Possibly that. We'll see anyway. It's hard to say. There is a second entry short there. It's not the worst trade in the world, but I'm not interested. If you look on this chart, on my left chart, it's a bit sort of clogged up to be honest with you. So I'm just sitting tight. So that bar has triggered. Let's see where it goes. It may come down, but for me, it's a bit risky. Is there many in there? That's a good question, actually. I don't know. Let's have a look. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, including Vladdy. So not a huge amount. He's a nice guy, but I've been speaking to him on and off. He actually phoned me up the other day and was chatting for about half an hour on the phone. And he's a nice guy. He's got an interesting background. His struggles with trading and stuff like that. But I know enough that it won't really benefit me, to be honest with you. So you may argue triple test there. I'm not a fan. It is a bearish bar. It may work, but it's a little bit sideways and a little bit choppy. And if I look on Bookmap, there are some larger sell orders there. So it may pop up a little higher. Now, there's always the possibility that this is the channel and this is a break and it's going to push up, but I'm not super convinced at the moment. I'm going to go with my initial thought process. So we'll see if it picks up some of these sell orders. I can see there are buyers at 10, which is below price. So I think there's a good chance if it can get up here, it's going to find its way down. For some reason, it's keep coming up error on my, what's it, stream health poor. I don't quite know why. I've got super fast broadband. I'll have a look. I'll see how clear it is, and I may just go back to 1080p. Not sure why it's saying that for some reason, but anyway. So there are sell orders there. They've climbed up a little bit to about there. You could argue there's a little bit of congestion there, maybe a small little bit of sideways. It's probably better on my second chart. Let's have a look at this. That's probably going to find its way down. My only slight concern is if you look on Bookmap, there is quite a few orders around the 21, 23 area here, and that's concerning me a bit. So I'm just going to sit tight here. As I say, there's always the possibility, and I'm aware of that doesn't look bad in itself, in which case is 2 legs down. It might find its way up here. So that's my slight concern. Now, I'm looking at 1 or 2 other charts. Some have had a break. 1 hasn't had a break. 2 have on a couple of charts I'm looking at. So, as I say, Thomas Wade hasn't got a break, and he'd be looking for a high. In fact, he may even go high there. Now, that may work. My slight concern is, though, if we've had a break, you may get stuck there. I'm not convinced either or. There are sellers up here and there are buyers down here, so it depends. His view on channels is honestly ridiculous. Yeah, I think the way I hear him talk, there's a lower high there. That's interesting. It's tempting, that is.
Order submitted.
Let's have a look. Let's see how this finishes. No good. It's all right.
Order cancelled.
Some highs there. That may come rushing down now. On about millimeter perfect and all that. That to me is overthinking things. I think because I think you can tell when there's a break. I dare say there are traders who can't, but we got this channel down. Now, whether you have it like that or whether you have it like that, that is a clear break. That is a clear low. So I can only kind of judge it on me personally, but I don't know. He's quite new to Discord as well, so he's kind of getting used to it. He's a nice guy. I will say that. He's definitely experienced. But I think I've traded long enough now to not need it. I don't think it may just for me take my focus on what take my focus off what I'm doing myself. But if you're a newer trader, then you definitely get some benefits from it. Posting screenshots of trade, Vladdy. Based on the entries post, he said he wouldn't take them. He didn't realise that they were posting his trades. Yeah, he's a nice guy, but it's not for me. I don't think so. I don't think I'll carry on. So there's definitely a mixed bag here. Yeah, it is. Millimeter. You don't need to be that accurate. Mac doesn't mark them that accurate, but you don't. You obviously need to understand that there's been a break. So, I'm looking at this now, and for me, I think there's a break, but there's always a possibility that there isn't, which is that looks okay as well. But I am aware of both possibilities, so I'm keeping that in mind when I'm looking at this. Now, there is a possibility this could shoot up, but this isn't going up very strong for me, so this could be a bit of a kind of fake out. It may trap here and it may come rushing down. This isn't going up strong enough for me to keep traders, but I'm not kind of naive enough to start jumping straight in either way. I want some proper clarification first. If you look on my left chart, there's a big strong bull bar there, which is triggered, and it looks like it's coming back. But sometimes it'll do that, and you'll get in short, and all of a sudden it'll turn and shoot straight up. So once you've been massacred a bunch of times in a load of trades, and you've lost a load of trades, you get a bit wise to it, because sometimes we do get these fake outs which can kind of look like they're they're going in that direction. And they suck you in, and all of a sudden the things turn. So I'm on the fence here at the moment. If we can get above here and here, then I think it's probably strong enough to push up. But at the moment, I'm just sitting tight here because it's still a little bit congested. It's still a bit choppy, isn't it? So although this is coming down, it's not really doing it with any sort of conviction, is it? And then all of a sudden, up we go. May eventually. Yeah, I mean, I initially followed it like this. But then I am aware that that doesn't look too bad either. So what I don't want to do is assume this is the first break and get caught going long. So if I think it's, sometimes if you hear me say, if I think it's an overshoot, I'll assume it is, and just avoid that next kind of second entry long or that next trade that may capture you. But it is looking like it's trying to test this. So if you look at Thomas Wade's got it like that. And in all fairness, it fits okay. But one thing I've learned is never assume anything, because if you assume something, you get that bias for that direction. And I doubt how many times here I've been desperate to push up. And my guess, my experience is the slower it works up, the more risk it is of coming down quickly. Because you've got maybe a bull bar here, you've got a higher low there, you've got another strong bull bar off there. It's very easy to all of a sudden start sucking in some inexperienced traders and all of a sudden rush down. And I've been caught in that more times than I care to remember. So I tend to, if it's going up slowly, I tend to kind of stay out of it, because you never know. Market's got a way of sort of teasing you, doesn't it, and kind of sucking you in. Thomas Wade, George's channels, but he doesn't harp on about being. No, he doesn't. I don't think you need it, to be honest with you. It doesn't make sense to me to be millimeter perfect. It just doesn't. I can't see a reason why you need to be that accurate, because I think experience is more important than the accuracy of your channels. That's my opinion, anyway. So is there a channel like that? I don't know. So this is looking like now all of a sudden it may come rushing down. So let's move this up here. So if I look on Bookmap, there are sellers at 25. Now, why would you sell here before we get to the top? Unless you know something we don't. So yeah, at the moment I'm just sort of gonna sit and twiddle my thumbs here. I agree, Penguin teaches us. Penguin actually is a really clever trader. It for me is like a palm reader. Those people, psychics, well, they're not psychics. The guys who read your palms. That's how he kind of reads a chart. Exceptionally good. I think the thing that makes understanding PA take so long that Mac doesn't teach. Yeah. I think some people can teach and some people can trade. I think Mac's more of a trader than a teacher. But another thing I'll say as well, it's hard to teach someone to trade. I think really you're kind of given the basics and then you kind of guide them. But trading is one of those things you have to get a feel for, and the only way really is to get that feel for it, and that experience is to just get in there and do it every day. It's one of those things, it's very hard to just tell someone how to do it. You can spot a second entry long, you can explain what a second entry long is in a matter of a couple of minutes, but applying it to that correct context where you don't get trapped, and we've all been trapped. I can't tell you how many times I've been trapped. But being trapped and losing trades really teaches you to identify those areas that are a little bit iffy. Uh, yeah, I don't think Matt's a good teacher. He's a lovely guy, but he's not a natural teacher. Some people are, some people aren't. He's more of a trader than a teacher, because I think sometimes he misses some important facts which would help traders. And I kind of know that, or I believe that, because when I see Mac, I think if I'd have known that, or he'd have told me that 12 months ago, I would have been a little bit more careful. So I think he does miss some crucial elements of helping someone trade. But uh, it's some people, what do they do if you can't teach, do, or something like that. I don't know. They're just saying like that. I agree. Can't learn price action basics. Yeah, you have to get in there and experience it day by day. Uh, you can't. You can give someone the basics and you can guide them. I.e., you send me a chart at the end of the day. I wouldn't take that because of this. I wouldn't take that because of this, and so on. That's how you help people. But ultimately, you've got to get in there and experience it, and that's kind of how you learn. And it's almost impossible to teach someone how to deal with the emotional side of trading. That's just something that comes with time. You need to get battered. You need to get battered around. You need to feel what it's like, and that's how you learn from it. Uh, so this is my concern about this moving up. Is this going to come flushing down? It certainly looks like it may do. But this just may be a pullback. It may continue up. This doesn't look terrible, so it may still go up a bit higher. I'm concerned about going long here, anywhere here, because that's how I initially had mine. But I might be wrong. I'm aware that it could be either way. So you're probably likely going to have. So I think it's going to be aggressive sellers that push this down, personally, because we've got buyers down here, around about the 11 level. So we got buyers down here. We got sellers at 25. This area is a little bit flat. So I think a lot of this may be moved by aggressive buyers or sellers, depending on where it's going. See, looking on my second chart, it's kind of like a failure. There's a big, strong bull bar, that's vulnerable, I think. You never know. It might just turn and push up, but I'm not convinced that this is going to push up. So, yeah, the price action really is just how watching the movements of the candles and watching for those telltale signs and the way things move. And the best way to learn that is just to sit and watch them. You get used to knowing. There are always times where things are chopping around and it's a bit hard to work out exactly what's going where, but it does tend to move generally the same way. And as you get more experienced, you get a feel for it, don't you? You get an understanding for it, but it does take time. So I'm still on the fence here. Do I think this is going to go up? At the moment, I think this is more of a toss of a dice. It may come down, clear out some of this liquidity, or it may go up. But this is struggling to get up. So This may come rushing down, but I've assumed that before and got short, and it's triggered me and pushed up. So at the moment, I think this is more likely to come down. How far I don't know, but at least down a little bit more. But it's just one of those times where we're kind of in the middle of this, so I'm just not sure at the moment. If I had to be a betting man, I'd say it's more likely going to come down below some of this, maybe to the top of here, or. Uh, but I'm just sitting tight at the moment. It's not super clear, is it? But I know Marco's part of it as well, but he's not really present. He doesn't really play a part, I don't think. I've seen a couple of comments, but I've not, when they have the chats. PT is paying with trades. Yeah. He's a very clever trader. He comes over as someone who spent years looking at charts. He really reads charts really well. But he stopped posting his videos for some reason. Whether he's just posting them on his group or not, I don't know. But it's very similar to Max, isn't it? But a slightly blown out version. I can't trade like him, but I've learned. Yeah, I think anybody that teaches you a little bit about price action, it's always going to help you. Any experience, it's always going to help you. So yeah, we came down here, and I thought, yeah, coming down, all of a sudden we had a bull bar then. But it's at the moment it could come down. We could have a second leg. I don't. At least we are getting some volume, so it's not as dead as I thought it might be. So there is a failure there, but it's not very convincing for me. I think it's always nice. If that was a nice strong bull bar, then that would probably be interesting. But it's just not super convincing to me. Uh, that is certainly an error. I think there's a big strong bull bar there. So well, there you go. So that was my concern with getting in long there, that this was going to happen, because it's clearly not moving up very strong. So isn't it uncanny how it comes down, clips that by one tick, and all of a sudden moves up 6 or 7 ticks? Uh, is this going to push up now? Who knows? Who knows? Uh, mm, I will say, someone asked me about Thomas Wade the other day. In fact, Vladdy thought, is Thomas Wade a bit of a scammer? He did mention, is he? I'm not sure what gave him that idea, actually. I don't know. Someone messaged him and said he was. I honestly think Thomas Wade's a really nice guy. He doesn't get involved in any of the rubbish. He keeps his head down. He just gets on with it. He doesn't. He's very tactical, isn't he? He's very polite and friendly. He's always been all right with me. I think you can do a lot worse than pay attention to Thomas Wade. I think he's a nice guy, and I think he's a good trip. Well, you know what it's like. Anybody who makes money at trading has my respect, because I know how bloody hard it is. And as well, he's not frightened to show you his losers, which I think is it's a really strong point. Let me have a look here. So, there are buyers around about the 14 and a quarter, which is down here. A decent second entry short might not be terrible, but I prefer a break here. If this came down, that'd be no good for me. There is a second entry short. I'm just not a fan of this. It's a little bit congested here, and it may pop up a little bit higher, so I'm just sitting tight. It may come down, but if you look on this side as well, it's a bit congested. So I'm sitting tight here. It looks like it's working, but I've got no problem with leaving it. Well, it did work. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you. The poor understanding of risk management. Doesn't understand max trades, and he's rude and unpleasant. No evidence that he can teach anything. Yeah, he does come over quite abrupt. I think it's his way. Some people do, don't they? I don't quite know why, but he does come over a bit abrupt. But when you talk to him, actually, he's a nice guy. He comes over okay. But I don't know why he hasn't been in this kind of space before. He's kind of kept kind of quiet in the background. I don't really know why. But I thought Marco was playing a little bit more of a part, but Marco doesn't seem to spend much time in there. I don't think Dan's trading tonight. I haven't seen him. No, he's not. Oh, I'm pretty sure actually he said last week he was finishing early, didn't he? I think. It's that time of year, isn't it? Some people have family around. It's the second entry short, that one there. I haven't done hard about this because there's a bit of congestion here, so it's a tough one, isn't it? I'd have preferred that a little bit higher, but it did work nonetheless. There are buyers down here. There's 300 odd contracts around there. So we've got this move up, haven't we? 2 legs back. Where's price going to go now? Teaches newbies to trade. Yeah. I think personally trading one point is detrimental to your mental health as a newer trader. I do. You're going to get crucified. It's not unusual to get a 4-point risk. If you take 5 trades, you win 4, you're up. Let's say you go for 1 contract, you're up $200. You take a 4-point risk on 1 bar for your 5th trade, you're in the red. And when you're learning price action, you're not going to be winning 80. So you've got to win at least 80%. In fact, 80%, I don't think you'll barely break even with 80%, and you're not going to win 4 out of 5 trades as a newer trader. So you're constantly going to be fighting a losing battle for me. So you guys know my thoughts on risk. My thoughts are 2 points is minimum for me. Now, I know people like Marco and Dan trade 6 ticks, but they are more experienced. But as a newer trader, you get mentally crucified. So Thomas Wade's come round to my way of thinking now. He's changed that. He's had that channel. He's put the break there. So my guess is it was a break, but it did look good either way. But I kept it like that. I like the way it worked along that midline, and then we had a break, then a strong move up, and then a quick drop down. So my guess is it was a break, but I kept my mind open, but that's why I never got involved in any longs there, because the slower it goes up, I think the less convincing it is that it's going to get up there, and all of a sudden then we came down and eventually picked off all these bits of liquidity here, which is kind of I thought may happen. So I think sometimes you're best off taking the safer option and just leaving things. Yeah, it does, yeah. The strange thing is, I went through Mac's charts once, maybe a year or so ago, and I marked the trades that went for 2 points or more. When I say 2 points or more, I mean 2.25 points, because a lot of the time it's got to push through. And I think it was 105 trades I marked, and 102 went for 2 points or more, which is an absolute no-brainer. If you're going for 2 points, you're making 100% more profit. Even if it happened once every 3 times, you're still better off. But this was 102 times in 105. 3 times it didn't. The other 102 times it did. It's a no-brainer for me. It does surprise me why Mac still takes those, because he obviously knows where price goes after. And, I didn't all of a sudden decide to do it. I was looking at trades and thinking, hold on a minute. Nearly every trade I'm taking, it goes on for 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So I relatively quickly went to 2 points, and then eventually went on to 3. But I don't know why Mac does it. Mac's been doing it, I suppose, since the day dot. If it works, I get some people, they're set in their ways. If it works, we've all heard the same. Why change it if it works? So the same. I also calculated 1-to-1 risk and 1-to-2 also. But yeah, for me, I like 3 points because it works out similar to 1-to-1. So for my thought process, if I lose a trade and win a trade, I'm more or less even. But what I didn't want to do was to go for 1 point and then lose 4. So the next 4 trades are more or less going to get me back to break even. I didn't want to do that. It's too detrimental, I think. So let's have a look. So we've got sellers at 10. There's a channel down there. I can get rid of that. If we can get a second entry short here, I may wait for a lower high because of this. Let me have a look. There are some sellers up there about 21 up here. But there's also like a little, you could say a failed breakout. That is interesting. I think that'll probably work. I'm sitting tight just at the minute because, mind you, there are some sellers there, but they're around about 17.5, which gets us back so far. I think for me, the safer option is to wait for the lower high here. We've had this move up with 2 attempts to go lower. It could turn and push up. I think this is probably going to work. My only concern is I can see orders at 22. But But there are big orders down here, and there's some here as well. So it could come up, take that, and pick off a couple of these as well. I think it's a strong enough bar that it may hold. But for me, the safer option is the lower high. It's 13 ticks, tick above, tick below. It's 15 tick risk. It's not strong enough for a 15 tick risk. And when it triggers you like that and starts to move up, you've got to start thinking, it's going to push higher. Now, it may hold, but for me, the safer option is either the lower high or see if it'll break above some of this. So there are sellers up here. Let's call it 21 and a quarter and 22 and a half. So 21 and a quarter. 18 and 3/4, which is there. Funnily enough, a tick or two right above there. 21 and a quarter. I'll be amazed if it doesn't break above there. So 20 to 21. Let's put it in the middle. And 22 and a half. 22 and a quarter. 25. 22 and a half. There and 25. So while there's a lot of sellers up here, that is going to act like a magnet pull up. So if you had taken that, triggered you, I get why you may have taken it, but technically it is a second entry short. You could have even called it a failed breakout. That looks okay to me. But my concern is we've had this move up or with a gap up, 2 attempts to push high. It could go higher. I'm also aware of this, see. So you may call that one leg up, and then maybe something like that. So who knows? I kind of tend to look at all options and then put that inside my brain and kind of let my, I don't know, my natural thought process kind of divulge what's going in. But the math was bruised on Max forum. You don't need to win 89% like Max says to be profitable. If you don't have a runner, I think you do, don't you? It depends. I mean, we've had slightly higher ATRs lately, so that it depends. I mean, if you happen to, did I say here there was a bar down here? Okay, so let's say this bar here. Let's put a tick above and a tick below. So you're risking 4 points there. So if you win 4 trades and lose your 5th one, effectively that's a 4-point risk. You've won 4 points and lost 4 points, but then you've got commissions. So with an 80% win rate, taking a bar like that, you're in the red. And that's too much for me, especially for newer traders, without a doubt. That's going to mentally cripple you that well. I don't think you're going to be trading long enough to get good at it with stats like that, because it's going to damage you mentally. Really didn't want to. You're probably better at the long run, or even worse. So for me, I kind of like 3 points. That works for my mind, I think. It's one of those things. I never go 1 to 2. No. Risk 1 to make 2. Too much for me. I wouldn't have the nerves. I'd be like a nervous wreck, I think. I don't know what's going on here. So I'm just looking if there's a possibility we've also had I'm not convinced we have. there is kind of like a failure here. May well go up. There's certainly liquidity up there to target. I don't like that bar there. This is not too bad, but it's 14 ticks, tick above, tick below. There's not much room to the highs. It's very easy to take a big risk there. And what is there? Half a tick, half a point? Probably squeeze a little bit more. There's no room to the highs there. Now, is it going to push up? It may do. But for me, you'd have to hit 3.25. Do I really want to sit? May work, but for me, I'm just a bit uncertain about what's going on here at the moment. Excuse me. So Thomas Wade, not this high low for me. Second entry long, he would consider. So he's not taking the higher low. I'm assuming it was that one. It's going to be hard to get a second entry long here without this thing pulling back. In fact, Mac did say, I'd love to find that video. Mac did say, it had to have been 12 months ago. I think it was Sean tried to find it. He thought he had it, but he couldn't. Even Mac said, if you're only trading 1 to 2 contracts, you've got to go for more points because the numbers don't work. In other words, I think he was talking about a couple of points. He actually said that. I'd love to find that video. But that makes sense. If you're going for runners, your runners can quite likely mitigate your losses, depending on how experienced. I still think you need to be quite experienced to make that work. As a newer trader, I think it's way more detrimental to your mental health going for a point. When you're experienced and you can get past those early years, then it may work for you. Look here. So we got sellers at around about 22, which is there. So there's sellers there, and there are sellers at 25, which is there. So there's sellers here before we get to this new high. So there are traders thinking this thing isn't going any higher. So there's always a possibility, as shallow as it is, that we may end up doing something like that. It's a bit broad for me, but you never know. It's just a bit trappy here. Yeah, I'd love to find that. I'd love to find that trade. Gotta get up to 5. Yeah, the 80-20 thing, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, you could make it work if you went for micros. You know, what 10 micros is 1 mini. You could trade 8 micros. I don't know, it's a pain in the ass for me. It costs more to be honest with you, I like to get in and get out of a trade. I don't like to sit there because you never know what's going to happen. You know, sometimes you sit there trying on a runner, all of a sudden something happens in the news and the thing legs it in the opposite direction. So I like to get in and out, and then I can kind of relax. So, I don't know, maybe I haven't got the nerve for it. It's not for everyone, is it? You got to be. It just doesn't suit me. I think some people like it, some people don't. I don't. I hate runners. Probably because I'm a bit of a coward when it comes to it. I like to get it out. Your trades are seconds now, Phil. Are you on about? Do you go for 4 ticks, do you, bud? My trades are seconds, and I feel better. I mean, I'm not saying. I'm not saying you shouldn't go for a point. It kind of doesn't make sense to me. You go for 20 ticks on the NQ, yeah. I find it hard to compare the two because they kind of both work differently, don't they? I don't know. I think that's definitely a. I think trading the NQ is for real men. Uh, it moves too quick for me. I like things a little bit slower. At least we are getting volume. It's not the easiest to trade this stuff, but at least we're getting something. 4 times this YC. Okay, so times 4. Yeah, so 20 ticks. What would that be? 5 points? Five ticks? So point the quarter-ish, somewhere around about there. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't think you should let people tell you how to trade. Uh, when you've got a bit of experience, we all do slightly things different. Obviously you got to watch some of Mac's videos, and he posts a few traders going for a point. I know Dan and Marco go for 6 ticks. I know sometimes if the ATR is higher, Marco goes for a little bit more. Thomas Wade tends to go for 2 to 3 points, depending on what the ATR is. Vladdy goes for a flat 2 points. I go for 3 points. So I think more people go for more points than a flat point. But everyone's different. Everyone has their own kind of style and their own way of doing it. And really, if it works for you and you're comfortable doing it, I think you should stick to what you're kind of comfortable with. As I say, some people like runners. I hate them, but some people love them. So just because it doesn't suit me doesn't mean it's not. It doesn't work for you. If it works for you and you're happy in it and the numbers work out, that's all that matters. You have 11 tick stop. Yeah, it depends. See, trading pats, you're kind of governed to a degree by the signal bar, but it depends. I know what's it's. I have a little flick through other YouTubers, and I know what's his name, Trader Joe. He was quite strict with pats, and then all of a sudden he said he was trying a different strategy, and he was, instead of leaving his stop below the signal bar, he was moving it up a bit. In some cases, he was getting knocked out, and it was off. It went in the same direction. So I'm not sure what he's doing anymore. Why? I know he was doing. I don't know. He had to go at that competition. I'm not interested in that really. It makes you trade differently, but he does seem to be swapping things around. I don't quite know why. Whether he's not getting continuous success, or maybe because there's not a lot of trades in pats. Maybe he's trying something a bit different. But for me, there's definitely a lack of setups at the moment, which is why I'm going for which is why I'm looking at the CL chart as well. It just gives me a second crack of the whip if I can't get a trade on here. Maybe I'll get one on here. Uh, Today's different. It's not suiting your edge. Yeah, there are sometimes. I'm surprised how many traders actually miss certain days. They don't trade every day. I was talking to a trader the other day. He never trades news days. I suppose everyone's different. It's not only that. I suppose if you're making a stack of money, why trade every day? You might as well enjoy it. So channel break, new high. Is this going down short here? It may well do. do seem to be kind of looping down, don't we? But I've done that before. Uh, consider that lower high. It's a bit trappy, this is. So I'm just sitting tight. We've also got a possible gap to fill as well. This thing seems to be, every time we push up, we seem to be getting lower and lower. So that may be telling us something, or we could have a leg up. May end up being a bit of a bull flag or something. So the thing may decide to rocket up. I don't tend to follow bull flags, but I know what they are. Don't they usually hit the bottom or bounce here after a few attempts and turn up? I don't quite know. So there is a lower high. Just it's a bit choppy for me. It may work. It's looking like it's working. Uh, trouble is it's doing a little bit of this, isn't it? So I think it would have worked for 12 ticks. Not quite. It would have to get to there for me. There's no reason. I mean, there is probably some liquidity there, so it may come down a bit lower. It's just not convincing enough for me. Some liquidity there. If it hits, it has it there. So another ticket will be there. Yeah. So it would have worked. I just don't exactly know what's going on here. I think I know why that is, Sean. I've changed my chart over to stream in 4K just to try it, and I think there's about maybe 8 or 10 seconds. So I won't bother with that again. I just wondered. I looked on YouTube, and I'm sure someone said to me it won't make a difference with the latency, but it clearly does. So yeah. Cop Theory, how you doing, bud? You're a new face, I think. Where you from? Yeah, so in fact, if I bring mine in here, you can see I normally have ultra low latency, but because it's coming up, the current's just made that a bit wider. The current resolution is actually that's not full 4K. I think it's more 2K. I think because we haven't. But it says it's not supported. I don't get that. Whether it's this is YouTube, they do support 4K. I don't quite know why it's saying that. It's saying stream health is poor, but I've got a gigabit, so I've got really strong internet. So I don't quite know why that's saying that. But it seems to be maybe 8 to 10 seconds behind. So I think that's why it's looking like it's lagging, Sean. I'll sort that out after today, mate. I'll put it back. I think it's more important that you're more up to date with me. Normally, it's a second and a half, I think. But maybe 8-10 seconds is a little bit. That's why you see a little bit of a lag, I think, mate. I try for the week. I don't come back to the charts until Monday. January start again. Don't piss me off. Don't worry, we're scared of you. Could you please call tell them to run down that gap? No problem, mate. Consider it done. With the mercantile exchange, I think that's what you mean, isn't it? So it did work. That it does look like it's kind of it's quite broad, these legs are. So if if it is kind of like a bull flag, it may decide to go like that. I don't know exactly how they work. Someone took that anyway. Got 5 points out of that. I can't see anybody else that took it, so no. So, no idea what's going on here. Okay, excuse me just for 1 second. I'm just going to grab a cold drink. I'll be back in 1 minute. In fact, I may wait you. No, I'll be back in 1 minute. As it's Christmas, I thought I'll have a little drink with you. Where's my thingy? So, Merry Christmas. Anyway, it's the last day I'll be streaming before Christmas anyway, so I thought I'd get a little bit festive. 12-year-old Glenn Fiddick. Oh. Right, what is going on here? It's definitely weaving up and down. Now, if this is a bull flag and we've bounced 3 times, this may shoot out the top. Let's say it's moving up strong there. Yeah, I'll change that over for when I come back, Sean. Don't worry about that. I'll sort that lag out. Still, sellers up here at 25 and 22.5, which is there are buyers at 17.25, which is down here. So this may not come down before it pushes up and makes a new high there. Ordinarily, you can see there's kind of buying or taking profits down here and vice versa here. Now that's 3 attempts to push lower and a strong move up. This is the strongest move up we've had. This, it was a lot of sideways. This is lots of, that's really strong. So I wouldn't be shocked if we got up to these highs here. I don't know how bull flags work, but I'm pretty sure they're called bull flags for a reason. So they kind of push up and do this, and then eventually probably trap some shorts here and then go like that. I think they do that. I don't quite know. We'll see. Marco's trading. I don't think he was. So let's see where this thing goes. I'd certainly expect it to get up to this level here. That's really strong, that is. So we'll see. Could be completely wrong, but hey ho. Some of the cool kids can find blocks of traps, longs, and shorts at the end of footprint table as displayed. It's a bit beyond me, that, mate, I think. Oh, sometimes when you have a little drink and you think, oh, I could just go out on a session now and get hammered. Oh, I might have to go out later. Sometimes when you just have a drop of alcohol and you think that tastes lovely, and you really get in the mood quick. Okay, every time we get up here, we're coming back. Now, yeah, sometimes you do, don't you? Sometimes just have a drink. Sometimes I've arranged to go out and I have a drink and I just think I'm not in the mood. Other times when you just sat at home bored and you have a drink and you're thinking, "Whoa, I could just go out now on a right old bender." I might ring a mate up later. I've got a friend who kind of lives out in the pubs. I might ring him later. I might go out and get leathered. I don't do that much now. So, is this doing the same as this? It's very easy to just think, here we go, we're doing exactly the same. Let's just go short here. Everything was going to say, yeah. It's hard to trade this stuff because it's very easy to go, we come down, up, down, up, down, up. And it's very easy to think, let's just go short here and move down like with the pattern. But whenever you kind of think, right, it's done this 3 times now, next time we do it, I'm going to go short. And it seems to do the complete opposite that time. But look at it now. Every time we get up here now, see, Thomas Way's got that as a bit of a range. I think it's probably the better option. Where'd you put it to, though? He's got it to there, I think. Let's put it there. So, yeah. Trouble is, it's when it starts to kind of, drop down type thing. Let me just kill that colour a bit. I am. You want to come with Santa's knee? I've just got a naked wife to my left. You've been a good girl this year. Sound a little bit perverted, do I? Come and sit on Santa's knee and tell me what you want for Christmas. Let's hope I can afford it. I'm just having one whiskey, that's all. I'm going out later, yeah. I've got to go to the shop, haven't I? Yeah, so I'm just having the one, as it's my last streaming day. Again? Yeah, till the 29th. It's there is volume today, but it's not super strong. But tomorrow's going to be, everyone will be getting off for Christmas tomorrow. Everything will be slowing down. So, sorry. Yes. I'm not really doing much, to be fair. Market's just kind of weaving up and down, so I'm just doing a little bit of chit chatting. I'll take this off in a minute. My heads are getting hot. So, looking at price now, there are sellers between 22 and 25. So between there and there. So my guess is price is going to push up above this. Now, if that is a range, we've had a small breakout there, and as we know, we get a breakout at the bottom. We often get one at the top. So it's just nothing you can do at the moment because it is just chopping up and down. There are buyers around about the 17, which is there, which is around about that midline. And then there are sellers up there and there. So my guess is, with what I'm seeing there, is we're probably going to get into this area. In fact, let me just put that between that. My guess is that doesn't really help, does it? Let's change that color a bit. Ooh, that's ugly. Yeah, my guess is do something different. I don't like that. Pink. Is that any better? My guess is price is going to get into this area here. That's where there does seem to be a bunch of sellers. But it is quite strong here as well, so your guess is as good as mine. You're better long than short, or the other way around. See, I have my opinions on where I think the market's going based on what I can see in Bookmap, but my opinions are not necessarily that I trade them. As I mentioned earlier, it's very easy. We go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's very easy to think we're up here again. Let's just go short. And sometimes it'll give you that impression it's doing that. And whenever you decide it's gone up and down enough times for me now to trust this, and you getting short here, it triggers and stops you out. It's uncanny how this market is. You've really, this market, the best way I can describe it is it can chew you up, spit you out, and not bat an eyelid at you. It can do that. You've really got to get experience and learn to outsmart it. Not necessarily outsmart it. Find a little flaw or an opening where you can get in and make a bit of money. But it's very, very clever at trapping traders. Now, how it does that and what the mechanics are and whether it's institutions or the brokers, I really don't know. That's the trouble with being a retail trader. You don't understand the mechanics of it because, I'm just a guy stuck in a room like a bunch of you guys. So, we read a bit of stuff. You read a bit of stuff on the internet. We hear that stuff about institutions doing stop runs, but yet I've seen the interview with Tom Hugard that says it's absolute crap. Institutions don't do stop runs to get rid of it. So you don't know what's real and what isn't real. So I'm kind of open to a few different options of what does what. But liquidity runs and picking off easy liquidity is true because I see it every day and I can identify it for the most where it's going to happen, where there are weak positions long where the price will come down, clear those out. And then in a lot of cases, it's like sometimes when we get triple test, we have 2 attempts. The second attempt, 2 legs down, traders might go long. If it's a weak position, sometimes we'll get a pullback. It'll clear out any liquidity and then give us a third attempt, strong position. And in some cases, when we get a really nice triple test, it goes on strong for another leg. Need to have experience there. Absolutely. It is important. It's equally important to know when to stay out the market as when to get in. Because if you don't know when to stay out the market, that's when you're going to take your losses. And if that's happening a lot, that's going to tip the balance and you're going to lose more than you make more and you're not profitable. So that's a problem I used to suffer from. I mean, I've been through all these different types of scenarios where I've been trapped. I've lost my patience. We all go through this trading journey, and the only way you really stop doing it is to learn. It's like anything. If you get smacked on the knuckles enough times, you ever do that thing when you was at kids where you got a pack of cards and you played that game and you had to kind of wrap yourself over the knuckles? You soon learn when things don't work. And when it's choppy like this, I kind of thought I needed to understand what the market was doing all times. And sometimes when it's chopping around, it's very much a mixed bag of, we know this is just a bigger version of congestion. Now you can trade it as long as you can read the market. But I had that I always felt like I had to figure out what was going on, and I was trying to make a trade out of nothing. And all that does is you'll sit patiently all day and you'll end up getting into a stupid trade. Can't tell you how many of you guys who've been with me for a long time, I would be blowing my own trumpet about how good I was because I've sat here for 3 hours and not taken a trade. And then I'd do something stupid like take one in congestion because my patience run out and I'd end up taking a loss. So you do understand the signals of when to stay out, but it does take time. But, it's as important, if not more important, to stay out, because this, when Mark is doing this, this is where you take a chunk of your losses. It's okay waiting for nice setups when we're in a nice trending market or it's easy to read, but you need to have that, that extra string to your bow to be able to stay out when price is chopping around, because all this does is generally chops up inexperienced traders. But I actually can't, if I've not taken a trade all day, I don't walk away feeling frustrated. I walk away feeling really pleased with myself because I haven't taken a trade. If I haven't seen a trade, you can't take one. Doesn't, all the will in the world, if the market's not going to give you an offer and there's nothing you can do, failing that, it's just pure luck. We all want to make money, don't we? And do well. And you've just got to wait for it to clear up. I'm not understanding what is an iceberg order. Okay, iceberg orders, I don't fully understand them, but I believe an iceberg order is it's an institution's way of entering positions in the market without giving their position away, for want of a better word. If there's a massive institutions who are selling a huge amount of orders up here, other traders may jump in with them. So I believe they break their orders down into more kind of bite-sized pieces and get in that way. And I don't know too much about them, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of the general gist of how it works. But there is something on Bookmap that shows you them, or you can pay for something on Bookmap. What it is, I don't really know. Whether it's these numbers, I don't know, to be honest with you. I'd probably just be guessing. But if you listen to Bookmap, it does say, it does mention iceberg sell, whatever it was. I don't know how it works, but I don't use Bookmap like that really. But yeah, that's kind of the general idea, I think. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of that way. Our second chart is setting up with a lower high. I wouldn't take a trade here at the moment, mate. And I'll tell you why. If this is ranging, we've broken out the bottom. Now, if we break out of one end, often we do the opposite the other end. And if you look on Bookmap, see all these orders here above price, they're all in this area here. So my guess is price is going to push up into this area. And the only reason I think that is because I can see how many sellers are in this area. Now, if you're selling this, it's hard to tell because I can't go back so-and-so days. If you want to sell price, my guess is the safest place would be is probably here. Now, I'm not saying it's a good market to sell, but if you are going to sell this, if you look where we've bounced into, we've pushed above it here, come back, tested it and pushed down. We've been into it once. We couldn't quite get there. But as we've had this breakout, my guess is price is going to bounce until we get a solid enough entry above the EMA for traders to jump in. So my guess is I wouldn't go short here, purely and simply because the orders up here and the fact that we've had a little breakout. Now, is it the perfect range? Not really, but how often is it? Is it ever? So I wouldn't take a short here. Now, you may take one and it may come rocketing down, but for me, the messages I'm seeing is price is going to push up into this area. And I'm usually right with this, not because I can read the markets, because partly I can, but I also use Bookmap as well. And that's telling me, if you look where price is at the moment, there's not many orders below, but there's more orders above. So as we know, these orders act like magnets. And what's happening now? Look, once it starts to break above there and here, it's going to start hitting bits of liquidity, and it's probably likely to have a bit of a shove. So I am pretty good at knowing where to stay out. Because I've spent a lot of time doing the complete opposite and losing trades. But you know, the more trades you lose, the more times you get trapped, you do start to learn, you know, the times to stay out. See, 1 minute looking like it's pushing up, then the next it's coming down, but it does that sometimes. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. Just you go long, it traps you, comes down, stops you out. You go short, it triggers you, pushes up, stops you out. Those traders absorbed by. Yeah, I mean, I don't look at this area as this is where I want to short. I look at this area to stay out of a short here. Now, often price will push in there and continue up. Just because there's a load of sellers there doesn't mean it'll hit those sellers and come down. All I want to know is where it's likely to go towards. So if we had a short here and I could see there were sellers there, I wouldn't take the short because chances are it'll trigger me and stop me out. Now, I don't wait for it to get into this area and take a short thinking it's going to come down. That's not why I use Bookmap. All I want to know is if I'm getting in here, is there a ton of orders near my stop? In which case, I'd stay out the market. So, you know, Bookmap tells me where price is going to get to. It doesn't tell me what's going to happen when it gets there. Because a lot of times it will come into this area and those sellers will get absorbed and price will continue on up. So I just want to know where it's more likely to go and is it going to interfere with a trade that I may be taking. So we're starting to hit sellers here. That's the earlier bunch of sellers. And there's some up there, 25, which you can see there's 180 odd contracts up there. That's growing actually. So it's probably going to push up to here. So if I don't, you know, who was it mentioned? Kirk, I think you mentioned in looking for a short. The reason I wouldn't get involved as a short because I was sure price was going to get to it. It's done exactly what I thought. And that's how really useful Bookmap is. It saves you from getting into a bad trade, and that's how I use it. So let's see how far this thing goes. Anybody watch the Jake Paul fight? I've seen pictures of his jaw. We know when his jaw was broke, that very last punch. I wouldn't. I tell you what, I felt that in the UK. I do admire that Jake Paul. He spent a lot of time getting himself in super condition. He's turned into a pretty good boxer now. Someone like Anthony Joshua, who's been boxing since he was 12 years old, and he is a super heavyweight, you're probably going to struggle against. But that last punch, the one that decked him, and I'm pretty sure broke his jaw. You wouldn't want one of those, would you? Sort of a knockout punch, shocks you smart. Yeah. I mean, that was I mean, if you were going to guess, that would be the one without a doubt that would have broke his jaw. Because I mean, that was some hard punch. I think he was choked. They all are, aren't they? You don't know what's gone in the background. It's for me, it's their money making things. But people love them. People watch them. They like the entertainment. But they both made a stack of money. Jake Paul's very, very good at making money. I will say that he's, you know, you could say a lot about him, entertainer, clown, whatever, but he's very, very good at making money. But you don't know what negotiations. I mean, we heard stories about the Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was paid extra money not to knock him out, and you know there were times with a Mike Tyson fight that you thought Mike Tyson may be holding back here. Now, you know, Jake Paul's got himself into a really good shape. He's certainly got some talent there, but he's not been boxing for 20, 30, years like a lot of these other guys. And obviously nothing sort of takes place of experience. I don't know. You know, I'd love to see some celebrities. I would. People pay to watch that stuff. I'd love to see some celebrities. I know there was some stuff going on years ago, maybe going back 20 years, about Robbie Williams from Take That and what's it from Oasis. They were supposed to be having a boxing match, but I think people pay a fortune to watch celebrities beat the living daylights out of each other. If Tyson pulling the punch, he did, didn't he? He went to hit, but he held back, didn't he? I mean, Tyson, yeah, he's getting on a bit, but he is still a dangerous guy. The guy's an animal. He's a natural fighter, isn't he? And you can't, what he lacks in possible speed and stamina, he makes up from years of experience. And Jake Paul's he's had a very different life than Jake Paul, hasn't he? So, Price is doing exactly what I thought it would do. I drew this area here, and that was the first one we pushed up and basically stopped. So watching this does help you. Now, these orders start to go higher now. So there are orders at 30, which you can see. There's 150 contracts. There's orders at 27.5, which is there. So you would have to think the overnight highs would be a legitimate target. Now, whether it goes straight up there or whether it pushes up and pulls back and tests the top of this line, that's a possibility. But we've got a fair idea. When you see actual boxes in the gym, are you confident I picked the right job? Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. What do they say? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. Yeah. Some people are just born that way. They just, I mean, I watch a bit of MMA, and when you look at the What's It brothers, they are just animals, aren't they? The ones I mean. Tyson's quote, yeah, that's it. Who am I thinking of? The ones I mean. Yeah, it's gone blank now. They're brothers, aren't they? They're absolutely mad. Some people are just born like that. They just want to fight, don't they? Same like Conor McGregor as well. He's the same. It's not for me. I don't like getting punched. He has, yeah. I mean, isn't it Nate? What's it on Nate? Nate. I think Nate's the slightly better one, isn't he? Is it Nate? It is Nate. I mean, that guy's an animal, isn't he? The thing is, the more he gets beat up, the more dangerous he looks. Because when you're smacking someone in the face again and again, they just laugh at you and smile at you. It's got to be, you've got to be a bit concerned. It's Nick, isn't it? The one, yeah. He's a nutter, Nate, isn't he? He's just a natural animal. So is this a bull flag that's reacting? Now, I did say 3 touches. It could go like that, and it does look like it may be. So we don't generally follow patterns, do we? But as far as patterns go, it's, we kind of had the same, didn't we? With a little bit of a rattle and then above. So this does look like it's pushing up. So look and see if anyone's. Dan's took that second entry long. I'm on Dan's here. Dan's not trading. In fact, Marco's took a he might have got stuck there. Marco's took a short here. I think he may have took a loss there. I wouldn't have took a short after that breakout. I expected that. Did it work for him? He had his first profit at 18, so he may have been right there. I can't tell. No, he lost that, I think. Let's have a look. Oh, he may have been right. No, he didn't. So his first take profit was at 18. So he got in. He took his short from that bar there. He got in at 20. So he got in there at 20. And that's where his profit was. And he missed it by, it was 18. He missed it by probably a tick. That's a shame. Surprised Marco took that. Just check. It was that one, wasn't it? Okay. Let's have a look. Yeah. He missed that. That's Marco's there. So he was in at 18. Sorry. He was in at 20 and he went for 2 points. Say again. Let's have a look. So 18 was his first, it was his stop. So he must have got in there. So 18 was his first tick, which it never did. Price got down to, so he missed that by a couple of ticks. Bad luck. I'm surprised he took that. For me, for ranging, we break out the bottom. Often we'll break out the top, but this did look like a bull flag, and we made 3 attempts, and eventually it rocketed up. Yeah, 2 ticks. He missed it by 2 ticks. He moved it to break even. Smart guy. Yeah. So he didn't lose anything. Good. Yeah, see if there's range in here and we have this breakout. Often we'll make one the opposite end. So when we're doing this, my gut feeling is it's more likely to push in here. Nice hat. Thank you. It's my Christmas hat. It comes with a built-in beard. It's got a little Velcro here for the beard, but I took the beard off because I can't speak with it properly. So we have made a measured move there. In fact, I have to take it off my head's getting hot. Okay, so yeah. So I don't know any of you pattern guys out there. And we push up, we make a few attempts to go lower. 1, 2, 3, and then off it took. Same again, we pushed up, made 3 attempts to go lower, and off it took. I might look into these bull flags. Particular things you do to help you to not get frustrated with not having trades daily, especially if you have a loss. Do you know, strangely enough, not taking a trade never bothers me in the slightest. I don't know why. Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think why. Is one thing I've learned. Now, I've been trading for 5 years. One thing I've learned is the market is how the market is. You have no control over what happens in the market. The market will either give you a trade or it won't. And it doesn't matter how you look at that, it's a fact. So taking a risky trade in most cases, you'll end up losing it. So I've just learned that you can sit here. When you trade and you get a bit of experience, you're playing a game, basically. You sit here and play the game and you stick to the rules. And the game is to sit here patiently until you see what you believe to be a good setup based on what strategy you're using to trade. And it's no more complicated than that. Now, to do it is obviously a different matter when you've got emotions and all sorts of things on your side. You may be doing it full time. You may not have much money. You may be up to your neck in credit cards. There's a number of different reasons which can affect you trading, but the more you lose, the more money you lose, and the more you get battered around them, you get to the stage at the end of the day where you think, I cannot outsmart this market by luck and luck only. The only way I can outsmart this market is by sitting here patiently and learning how it moves and waiting for what I think is a good setup. And that's all you can do. So it's not something that I do. It's just something I've learned to do over time. But, you know, so much of trading is patience. It's a big part of it. And if I've sat there patiently and not taken a trade, I give myself a pat on the back because I'm never going to change what the market does. All I can do is sit here and wait for it to offer me something. Because you don't have pressure to make an income. Yeah, I do. I trade full time. I do. I had a terrible 3 months, and then I think I had about 18,500 in October. So, you realize after a certain amount of time that if you lose your patience, all that's going to result in more losses. If you believe in your setup and you believe you've got the skills to make money, the rest is irrelevant. But it does take time to get to that level. But yeah, I mean, I trade full time. I've got to make money, otherwise, I'm going to struggle. But I've learned over time, and now, I mean, I trade one contract. I don't panic anymore. I don't stress anymore. I just sit here and wait, and when I get a setup, I take it. And the rest is kind of what will be, will be. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I get money from affiliates, but not much. I probably realistically get around the $700 to $1,000 per month. Obviously, that helps. It does, absolutely. But it doesn't, give me an income that I can live on. I've kind of got to make money. So last year, after overheads and expenses, I think I did about $43,000, which is a wage. It's not a huge wage, but it's a wage nonetheless. And if I take away my expenses that I paid last year, that would increase more. My plan this year is to just try and not spend anything, or very limited. I've got 20 accounts on the go, so there's no more spends with Apex. The plan is, as I, get payments throughout this year, I'll use a little bit of it, and I'd like to pick up 5 Traderify and 5 Lucid accounts, and then kind of let them grow. I'm 2 years in. I went backwards. Yeah, 2 years is not a long time, really. It's taken me 5 years. 5 years last month, I first started playing around with trading. And this year has been my only real profitable year. There was a little bit of profit last year, but not much. I think I did 22,000. I think I made 6 or 8,000 last year, not much. But this year, I've done things differently. I've been more patient, and I've played the game. But I've still done a few little hiccups. I've made a few mistakes. But I've now hit the level where I know now what to do and what not to do. That's why my belief this year, in fact, I'm very confident this year that I would hit $100,000 of clear profit this year. I'm very confident. I've got 20 accounts. If I can get my accounts if I can make $250 per week on average, that's $20,000 a month. All I've got to do is get 5 months of $20,000, and I've hit my $100,000 target. Anything else is a bonus. Even if you only make half of that, even if you have an awful month and only have 4 profitable clear trades over a whole month, still $10,000 a month with 20 accounts. So when you start to do things the right way, and you see accounts start to grow, you start to get that self-belief then that now I know what to do, because it's emotions that have got you into trouble in the past. And when you kind of take control of your emotions just enough to continue trading your accounts to get to a certain level, that's when you start to get that self-belief. You still have... No, I don't. I got 5 Traderify accounts in, I think it was about September. I had some hiccups. So this year for me, January, February, March, and April and May, I had money every month. So I made 30, I think it was about 32,000 over the first 5 months. My bank account was looking nice and healthy, and I felt quite comfortable and confident. And I think I went a little bit overconfident because I took a couple of trades, which I probably shouldn't, got a little bit frustrated. I think I had about £21,000 in my bank account. And you relax a bit too much. And just once I moved my stop, and I think I had about 12 accounts, and it came against me by about 4 or 5 or 6 points, and I was 400 in it. And then I panicked and moved it again, and then I went to 800. And then once you get so far into the red, it's kind of all or nothing. Now, you either get lucky and it turns and you get back to where you were. It didn't for me, so I ended up blowing all accounts. I think I lost about 12 accounts all in all. And for the next, I'd say 2.5 months, I was getting accounts blowing them, just out of pure frustration. And then I think end of August, in the end, I thought, I can't keep doing this. So I got 5 Apex accounts and 5 TraderFi accounts and traded them over, I think, 2.5 months and got them to payment level. And I got 18,500 off 10 accounts, which was 5 TraderFi 5. What's it? So that showed me that when I decide I've got to do this properly, and I was only trading 1 contract and I didn't take a lot of trades, but I still managed to get those accounts up to payment level and I got a nice lump sum. So that's the second time I've managed to get lump sums this year. So then all of a sudden your brain starts to go, okay, so all I've got to do is just sit here patiently, wait for a setup and take it, and I make money. And when you do that, your account starts to grow and you start to make money. But it takes a long time to get to that level because you've got to go through all those stupid years. And I had plenty of them, taking just stupid, dumb trades because I thought I knew best. I was trying to rush. I was trying to make too much money too quick. And all that does is get you into trouble. So quickly here, we've got buyers at 28, which is there. And we've got buyers at around about 26.5, which is there. So are we going to pull back to move higher? It's hard to say. We've had a channel with a break and a new high. Now, would I want to go short here? Not necessarily. Would I want to go long here? Not necessarily. I'm not exactly sure what's going, where price is going. We've had kind of 2 legs up there. So, when you stop doing stupid things and your emotions start to slow down, that's when you start to notice you're starting to build accounts. You're not stressed anymore. And then you get that kind of realization that, hold on a minute, I can do this. And that's when things start to change. So that's this year has been a big learning curve for me. It's given me a lot more confidence in my trading ability and the ability to slowly grasp hold of those emotions so they're not affecting me the same way. But compared to the last year, it's night and day. I can't tell you how many times I had accounts and I would get 2 new accounts and I would just go 4 or 5 contracts trying to get a boost and I would blow them. I did that so many times. And in the end, you just give up. You stop fighting the market and start to work with it. And then you start to get some success. And then all of a sudden you get that realization. I keep flicking between different tick targets. Been there, done that, mate. Just going back to the basic start with 3 points like you. Yeah. My honestly belief, I think the starting point is 2 points. But look, you may win more trades going for 2 points, but you probably won't necessarily make any more money. Another part of the reason why I go for 3 points is because I don't see a lot of setups. So when I do see a good setup and I wait for what I consider good setups, I want to try and capitalize and get a decent amount of money out of it. And for me, 3 points is kind of about, I mean, that ATR is low at the moment. Good setups, a really strong setup will easily make 3 points or more. What's my favorite setup? I like triple tests. I seem to get on okay with those. But I was thinking about this earlier. Second entry longs, I don't like. Second entry shorts, I feel much comfortable taking. But another trade I like is when we get a channel down there and we get a break. Second entry short up here to push down for that second leg. So channel break, 2 attempts to push higher. I like those, and I like triple tests. There was a trade yesterday that I saw. Was it yesterday? It was Friday. It was a long that I left that one there. Now, that might seem like a good trade. I don't like those, and I can't tell you why. We've got a channel there, 2 attempts to go. I would much prefer wait for a higher low. I don't think second entries for me are as safe to take as higher lows. But if this was coming down and we had the same scenario, I'd probably take it. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah. So, but there's no substitute for experience. And when I say experience, I don't mean knowing it all. I mean getting shafted enough times till you start to learn where to stay out of. I mean, that's one thing. It's good sometimes to watch someone stream because you kind of see them go through the whole process. But it took me way longer than I ever imagined it would. Way longer. I thought a year or two and I'd be earning a stack of money. But when you think about it, any job that pays you this sort of money is never going to be easy, or everyone will be doing it. You can't go out and earn 80, 100, 200,000 a year just like that. It doesn't happen unless you got one hell of a good singing voice or something like that. But I got a cousin who was a teacher. I think he did his A levels and went to university for 3 years, and he was earning about 30,000 a year, and he gave it up. So if you're willing to put time into trading, sky's the limit to what you can make, really. If you're prepared to grow and build and get multiple accounts in your own account, you can, who knows what you can earn. I thought I'd be at 20 Apex accounts by the end of the year. Yeah. I'm with you there, mate. This is the second time I've had 20, but I am in absolutely no reason to rush them. I'm just playing the game. I've learnt now just to play the game and then let the rest take care of itself rather than trying to cheat and trying to get lucky and trying to, it's easy when you've got 20 accounts to say, oh, I'll risk 1 or 2 of them. It's only 1 or 2. It's a tiny amount, but 1 or 2 leads to 3 or 4. It just doesn't work. And in the end, when you start doing things properly, you notice your accounts grow and you start to get paid. And then the rest slowly kind of changes and you make better decisions. What time are we? 2 hours. That's another eval. So 4 PAs. Just have to be disciplined. So that's the key. Just to take your time. I don't know how many times I took riskier trades thinking it was the right thing to do. But the best trades to take are the ones that jump out and go, I love that. I really like that. That's a great setup. I see those trades and I go, I like that, and I take it. And when you wait for those setups, they rarely fail. Got the scalp and chicken close. Where'd you go short here, did you? See, I don't know what to do here because I don't know whether this is just a pullback and prices are going to go higher. So for me, this is just a little bit unclear. I wouldn't know what to do here, to be honest with you. this is an area where you've got to give it a bit. We're back at the EMA now. Is it going to push through and come down, or is it going to bounce up? I mean, we've pushed up above new highs, so I really don't know what to expect. What I will say is there's probably more short orders from, say, 26 to 23, kind of that area. So maybe if we bounce here and then pull back this, I don't know. I just wait for something that looks obvious and clear to me, and I've got my direction quite right, and then I just take it. But I have learnt you don't need a lot of trades. A couple of trades a week, a couple of good quality trades a week that work. You can make a stack of money. I don't know who else is trading today. Let me have a look. Nut is in. Nut is in. I think. Is he trading or not? No, he's not. He's doing something else, I think. Oh, he's going through. Do not trade with funded. Red flag alert. Okay. He's doing a little bit of talk about something. I like Nutty. I've got a lot of time for him. He's a nice bloke. I think what's it? Didn't Alpine blow a bunch of accounts, didn't he, on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday? There we today, Monday, aren't we? I think last Wednesday or Thursday he blew a load of accounts. Trouble is, Alpine can seem to make money. When he takes a loss, it tends to be an expensive one. I don't think Joe's trading today, is he? No, it doesn't look like it. Alpine's not. He's coming back after Christmas. I think he's probably spending time picking up new accounts, I think. But my plan next year is to not spend much. Now, when I get these accounts up to payment levels, then I'm obviously, if I want to grow more accounts above this 20, I'm obviously going to have to pay something. So my plan next year is to go with the way of Tradeify and Lucid. And then I may look at My Funny Future and Take Profit Trader. I've got to say, I've gone off evaluations. I really have. I hate the damn things. So the trouble is, what I want to try and do is make money instead of just throwing it away on stupid trades. Just trying to grow things too quick, and then when I get them, I ended up taking stupid risks and blow them. So the plan is, when I get an account, just to treat it the same as I do every other account. So 26 to 25, which is in this area. So is this coming down? Possibly. It's only 8 ticks, that as well. There are sellers at 32. So you've got to be careful that doesn't decide. It's quite high, that. So my guess is this is probably going to come into this 26, 25 area, but we're hitting this area now, so it may do something different. So I'm going to have to just sit tight here. Just get rid of that. So the sellers are from 26 below 26, which is there, which is not a huge distance. So if you went a tick below there, it's a 0.5 to those, and it goes down to 25, which is there. I'd have to get down to there, so that's quite a distance for me. That ATR's quite low at the moment. I don't mind taking a trade if I think it's a solid enough entry. So we've had a strong move up, haven't we? Yeah, we've made a new high, but then we've pulled back to the EMA. Is price starting to hold it? It may do. Got within $1,000 a payout. Can't tell you in the past how many times I got $150 away from payout and blue accounts. It's mad when you think about it. How stupid. But I can't tell you how many times I did it. It's crazy, isn't it? You do stupid things. That's what happens when you have emotions involved. But over time, those emotions do slowly go, or at least settle enough. You may argue there's a second entry short here. This is a bit congested for me. If it gets down below there, then yeah, happy days, but I'm not super convinced it will. My concern is there are sellers there and around 30. So if you look at 30, there's 130 contracts, 130, 128, 146 between 30 and 32. Now there's 30. So my concern is this may trigger and push up and stop out that one and that one. It's a bit congested now. It may well work. This is a little alarm bellish for me now. On the other hand, there are sellers at 26 and below. So that may well move down. But by the time this bar finishes, and it ain't finished yet, there's a 1.25. So that does look a little bit congested. So you don't know when it's going to trigger you. Pick up these buyers and push up here, trapping you. So this for me is a little bit congested. Doesn't mean it won't work, but there's nothing I can do about this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 bars stacked side by side. Now there is 2 big bearish bars, and that may work. But I'm just sitting tight here. You really want to go for it? Yeah. If you're close to a payout, just try and think about what you've said there. I really want to go for it. What you're trying to do is you want to try and get that money. What you got to, in reality, what you've got to do is not think about trying to get that money. Wait for a good setup, and the money side will take care of itself. But as soon as you start saying, I want to try and go for it, that's when you're at your most vulnerable. That's when you got more likely to end up blowing the whole thing. And then you're going to kick yourself. And trust me, when you've kicked yourself dozens of times, you'll start to realize it's the worst attitude to have there. I don't mean that to be mean, but, saying I want to go for it, all that's going to do is you're saying I'm happy to take a risk to try and get to it. And if you've worked for that money, don't give Apex the satisfaction of seeing you blow it. Make them pay for it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't mind looking. I'm not paying much attention to the amount I got money in there. All I'm thinking about doing is taking trades. But I've been where Kirk is saying, you know, I really want to go for it. I really want to do it. And you know, the ironic thing is, if you do nothing, it may go down, but all that really does is kind of gives you that wrong message. You know what I mean? And it's very easy for that to happen. The best thing to do, the best attitude to have, and I know I might sound like a broken record here, and I know I've done it myself, is you have to sit here and wait for a trade that you go, I love it, whether it takes you an hour or a week. But when you start doing that and just take those trades, that's when things will start to happen. And I only know that is because I've been through all that completely recycled stuff where you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you make money, you blow it, you make money. I've done all that. You know what I mean? So what's going to happen now? You see these orders coming in this area here? You've got two really vulnerable bars in. That's a possibility that may come down, but it came down to those buyers, didn't it? And then turned. So it may continue down. But if I'd have got in there, it would have. Okay, so realistically, it takes a tick to push through. So you'd have got a point there. Okay, it's going to take a tick. You'd have got a point, and all of a sudden now this is heading towards your stop. So you'll ask yourself why, and the simple why is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got about 7 bars stacked side by side. So whenever you get that, that just tells you there's a little bit of uncertainty which way price is going. And the more experienced traders generally are staying out, and the less experienced traders are getting in. And the less experienced traders generally got the smaller accounts and they're a lot easier to manipulate. It doesn't mean it won't work. But when it is choppy and sideways like that, you've really got to think twice. It's so easy to get into these vulnerable positions and then to get stuffed. It really is. But sometimes they'll just work, and then the next time you'll go, oh, I'll get in. The last one worked, and it'll do the complete opposite. Who said it's going up? I don't know whether it's going up or down. At the moment, it's coming down. But those 2 bars there for me are slightly risky because it's congested. And that's what's making me be a little bit careful. That to me is congestion. Now, you have got 2 bearish bars, granted. But sometimes when it's going sideways, you'll get into these positions and then it'll completely push up. You'll clear all these and the smarter sellers will be up here taking your money with their stops and ready for that push down. But sometimes it's the way it works. It looks like it's coming down. I'll give you that, granted. But because it's a bit choppy, adds that extra risk. And I don't want the risk because I've taken trades like that before, and that's sometimes when you get stung. Okay, bear me 1 second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll just be 1 minute. See, if you're in on any of these two bars here, you're going to really be feeling it now, aren't you? There's no guarantees that it will go down, but while it's shopping around like that, getting into trades like that is super risky. But sometimes they'll just work, but you'll lose them more often than not. So I stay out now. I do. If it's a little bit sideways, regardless of where it goes. Stopped. Where'd you get in? That bar there, did you? Yeah. It's just too risky. It's all this. It's EMA's flat as a pancake market. You know, there's a mixture of longs and shorts here, and it's hard to say, but it's just too risky. It's all just choppy here. Really, you're best off just leaving this, regardless of whether it wins or loses. Sometimes the worst setups in the world will make money, but overall, you just got to kind of follow the way things are going. But you can imagine there's going to be liquidity there. So 30 to 32, which is there are sellers there. Not a huge amount, but enough. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when it gets there. All I know with those sellers there, my concern is it does get there. Because there is going to be liquidity above here, but for me, it's just sideways and too risky. So whether it pushes up here and comes down, a lot of time as it pushes into these areas, it'll just absorb them and continue on up. But they push into this area and then come down for a second leg. So however you draw that channel, where you draw it like I've done, or you do it like that, we've had a break in a new high, so that's played out. So it may just push up here, take out any previous liquidity of people who may have been in a little bit too premature, and then give us a nice second entry short here to push down. A lot of times, if you're getting a bit too premature, you'll get stopped out. It'll push up, clear them out, and then end up moving down beautifully. So there goes the first one. Let's see if the second one goes or it holds. 32, strong sellers right at 32 there. So there'll be some liquidity there. Now that's gone. So if you get in here, it's premature really, because it's just congested. So as we know, a lot of times it'll clear these area out and then continue on down. I don't know whether it will. My guess is it's going to clear that out first, which is kind of what I expected. So if you got into that one, it went down a point, and you'd have got a point out of it. If you got in there, you'd have got nothing. You'd have got half a point. I think that's where you got in, Kurt, wasn't it? There. You do get used to identifying these earlier trays that usually get taken out. But I don't know whether it's going to continue up for another leg or whether it's just going to push up to this level and retest these highs where you can see there are sellers. There's 173 contracts at 32 there. I'm surprised how much volume there is today, actually. There's a reasonable amount. It could have been a lot quieter. Am I? No, not tomorrow. I'm going to be doing some wrapping tomorrow. Last few bits. I'll do my food shop tomorrow. I've got things like the meat and all those sort of stuff. I'll pick up the veg tomorrow and the sprouts and all that sort of stuff. And then we'll be delivering presents then for the rest of the day. So no, I won't tomorrow. And then Christmas Eve. There's no point Christmas Eve. Okay, so that's hitting that 32 level. They're still there. It hasn't quite got them. But I think it'll push up a little bit higher. Yeah, you too, Beach Bum. Merry Christmas to you, bud. Can't discuss bottles of scotch with. Okay, that's hit those. What is it? That's hit those sellers there now. Whether that'll come down or whether it'll continue on up, that I can't tell you. I had a fair idea that's where it was going to go. 60 million on Jake Paul fight. Crazy, isn't it? I think, didn't he make something like twice the amount of money that Anthony Joshua made, I think? I bet his jaw's aching though this morning. It's usually a couple of days after, isn't it, when that bruising starts to set in. Okay, so there's still sellers up there at 35, so this thing may not be finished yet. 92 million. That's unbelievable, isn't it? $92 million. I remember the Mike Tyson. Didn't he pay $1 million just for his shorts that he boxed in? I mean, he's certainly talented when it comes to making money. You can't argue with that. Whether you like him or not, he certainly knows how to make money. Apparently, though, his brother is richer. I think, isn't he? You don't hear so much. Well, not in the UK. We don't tend to hear so much about him. Maybe it's just the last few years, with the boxing matches, it's kind of pushed him into the limelight a little bit more. But apparently, his brother's worth more money. Some of these YouTubers. I know Mr. Beast. He got offered $1 billion for his company for his YouTube channel. He turned it down. $1 billion. Unbelievable. I make about £20 a month from YouTube. not quite in that same league. £20 a month, something like that. I think I get about £55-60 every quarter from YouTube, just from views on YouTube. I don't tend to make videos. I think I've made very little. It doesn't really interest me. I've thought about it, but more just out of interest, just to saying what my journey is, maybe to help others. But from an income point of view, it doesn't interest me. I'm getting too old for that game. So I think I'm going to leave it there, folks. It's I can't see much going on today. It is still slow. I don't know where it's going. But I'm going to leave it there, actually. I'm going to start my Christmas now, I think. So, look, I appreciate your company today. I appreciate the time you've spent here, that you come here every day and have a little chat. I hope I help you as much as you guys help me. So trading would be quite boring, wouldn't it? And lonely, being by yourself, stuck in a room by yourself with all those emotions. So I do appreciate having people to trade with. You guys are my work colleagues. And you spend most of your trading days chit-chatting away with me and a bunch of others. So I like to think we all help each other and make each other's life a little bit better. So, yeah, Merry Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a great break with your friends and your family. A nice, safe one as well. Enjoy your break. I got to say, I do feel the benefits from taking time off at Christmas. I generally don't take much time throughout the year. I should do. But it is nice to spend time off at Christmas, get away from the charts, clear your brain. So I'll be back here a week today, which is the 29th. We'll have a look at the charts, 29th and 30th, and we'll see what they're like. And then we'll take it from there. So have a fantastic Christmas. Stay safe. And I'll speak to you all in a week. Feel free to send me a message. I'm happy to talk trading if you want to chat about anything or something's on your mind, but you want to say anything, feel free. But have a great Christmas, and we'll catch up in a week. Bye for now.